The 2019 season of the Australian Ultimate League would not be possible without the support of our league partners. Today's match is brought to you by the following team sponsors.
What do you think your biggest advantage over the other teams is?
I would say the biggest advantage for the Melbourne Flames is that we have got athletes across the board. We've got really, really strong players for all of the positions that we play on the field, and I would say in contrast to some of the other teams, that would be the biggest advantage that we have.
Nice. And then lastly, what do you think of the new set way of doing things?
It's very different the way the games are being played with the 3 sets instead of just start and end like traditional Ultimate. I think that combined with the way that the coaches interact with the lines on the field is changing the Ultimate that we get to play here. So I'm really excited to see what that looks like because it's so different to traditional sport and what I'm used to coaching and what all these guys are used to playing. So I'm really excited to see how the athletes go and how we can, I guess, put another level of strategy into our coaching as well.
Great. Well, thank you and good luck at your next game.
Thanks very much.
And welcome back to the Australian Ultimate League. It is the Brisbane Breakers taking on the Melbourne Flames, two of the powerhouse teams from the 2018 season going head-to-head in 2019. My name is Max Stenstrom. I'm joined in the booth by Sarah Crossy, and both of these teams looking to juke this one out.
I'm excited for this game. I think it's going to be really close. That's my prediction right up front. I think we've got 2 very confident teams coming into this. They've got different skill sets, different approaches, and we're going to have to wait for about an hour to see which one's going to walk away with the championship points.
Very different approaches between these 2 teams. I was chatting to one of the Brisbane Breakers coaches, Yuang, before this match, and his approach to this match and to this season, in fact, he said, with a lineup like ours, just punt it. I imagine that's a slight simplification. I love it. But he's not wrong. They have the ingredients to make that kind of a strategy work. Speaking of Arvin Mueller, one of those ingredients, and a mistake there, not looking to punt it.
Yeah, the 19-year-old just didn't have enough clear options and pushed one wide out of the field. To McGuckin.
She's got the unenviable task of marking up on Kat Phillips.
Wow, tight defense here.
Comes near side to Mangan. Andrews coming across the face.
Oh, Brendan Chang tries to get in there and steal one.
Back to Phillips.
Yeah, Muller playing that around backhand, but she gets the inside out forehand.
To Andrew C, but interestingly, he's wearing the 85, more commonly worn by Tom Tullett. A late scratching due to a heel injury sustained during Australian tryouts just a few weeks ago. see
to
stepped up
Phillips.
to fill that void.
And that's a beautiful throw.
Phillips finds DeBell.
Wow, Phillips just absolutely controlling the tempo of that offensive point. She's so dominant, so difficult to shut down. You stop her around the break backhands and she'll break you on the inside. It's what you're willing to give up. Very tough task for the young Muller. That's the start that Melbourne wants. They get the break. It's 1-0.
And I mean, it's a problem that a lot of teams have faced before, and frankly I've never really seen one answer it that well in the past, and that is how to slow down Cat Phillips. At that point you can see how devastating she is. Just controls the play. You know, it's not fireworks, but it's very pretty to watch. Brisbane now play some offense. Brett Matsuka, the American import, showing his skills behind the disc. Thinks about shooting early, but doesn't.
A lot of patience here.
McNaughton across to Simpson. Matsuka does have a Brisbane connection, going to university in the city many years ago, and now he comes back to provide his skills to the men and women in blue.
Just pops it over the head of Rosa Wang. It's another turn. And the little general, Seb Barr, Mr. Dependable himself, picks it up for Melbourne.
Wise shoots deep. It's a long way out in front, but even Mickey Dignam can't get there.
Save your legs, Dignam. That one was gone. And that's a bit of a gift return straight away for Brisbane.
A little excitable. Lachlan Wise with that throw.
McNaughton picking it up fresh from his national championship winning season with Mammoth, first title.
Liam Grimmond also on that team. As you say, the first title Brisbane has won in living memory, or at least since the men's division really got started. McNaughton shoots long to Matsuka. It's 2-on-1. No one will come down with it.
They're going to have a talk.
Matsuka not happy with the contact that he received. What a great duel that is, though. You described Seb Barr as the little general. In many ways, Brett Matsuka, a very similar player. Crafty thrower.
Looks like it's going to go back, contested.
And a composed head when his team needs it. Neither are really known as aerial forces, but doing their best impression of a deep receiver there.
Yeah, at 173, Matsuka's the second shortest man in the AUL.
Who's the shortest?
I think it's Carlo, if I'm not wrong in saying.
Yep, I'd believe that.
Get out, Grimmond! Grimmond, get out!
Oh, they're working hard, Brisbane. It's a beautiful throw to open it up to Parsons, who had a stellar season herself with Rogue. Grimmond up the line to a wide open Rosa Wang. She played for the Flames last season and she switched across to the blue of Brisbane.
And it's suiting her.
Looks good, doesn't it?
Clearly, she gets herself a stat early in this game. Just leaves Trenworth in her dust. Heaps of separation. Grimmond's going to hit that every day, as he does.
Yeah, Trenworth is a fantastic handler marker. I think she's up there in one of the top 5, I think. You really want her on female handlers, but as you saw there, it was Matsuka and McNaughton and Grimmond really working at the back of the field, leaving Trenworth upfield, and Rosa Wang took full advantage of that.
in many ways, it looks like Brisbane is playing two different lines, one where the handlers are all women and one where the handlers are all men. And that's, as we see this line here with Meehan, Smith and Mueller, the three female handlers out of this Brisbane outfit. But it is Melbourne on offense.
Kat Phillips picks it up. It's a beautifully weighted throw. Damn. Phillips says it's down. She couldn't keep that one up.
Looked like she had two hands on it, but clearly relied on the assistance of the turf to hold on. Mueller fires that forehand. We were talking about. There's a Brayden Cheng! Gets one back on Andrews for an earlier grab. Centres to Meehan. Goes crossfield.
Hannah Mangan, she's so fast, she's so dangerous.
And that's exactly what she's known for. Defense with total disregard for her bodily integrity as she leaves her feet at a moment's notice. Barr on that far side has Phillips going deep.
He's going to hold it, puts it to Mangan.
To Andrews. Flips on over the top to Barr. Marked by the much taller Murphy. See if that wingspan can trouble Seb Barr. Not many things do.
Lira and Phillips. It's a good matchup, I think.
Dignam. Oh, sneaks one through to DeBell. He'll flip it to Andrews for the goal. That backhand from Michaela Dignam working with just in the couple of inches below the defender's hand.
Well, talking to Chookley before the match, one of the Melbourne coaches, he was confident that their women were their strength in this game. He thought they really had the upper hand there. And the Brisbane women are very strong themselves. So we'll see how that plays out. It's also worth mentioning that Georgia Egan-Griffiths has sustained a quad injury just before the commencement of the league. So she is on a bit of a watch list there. They're going to see how she goes. But that's a massive loss for them as well if they have to pull her out due to injury.
We haven't seen her on the field yet this match, I believe, and she played limited minutes in previous matches, but a number of teams affected by injuries. That's how they hold up. It will make a difference. Simpson fires down the line to McNaughton under plenty of pressure from Andrew C. C replacing Tullett, a very different player, but provides great defensive prowess on those handlers. And Matsuka overshoots McNaughton a little. Gives an easy one to Wise, who'll find Trenworth in the centre. Looking for the inside, cleaned up by the long arms of Chris Stoddard, who gives it straight back to Brett Matsuka. Grimmond has Parsons.
Oh, she breaks, he's looked her off, gone to Grimmond.
Matsuka wants it back. It's about 5 out now, just playing give and go with Grimmond. This is his style of ultimate, and isn't it fun to watch?
Oh, Matsuka, welcome back.
He dances a little
to
dance.
the sunny shores of Australia. It's good to see him back playing. I think it was last probably 2012 he pulled on the green and gold for the Dingoes. He's a great addition to this AUL and a great addition to the Brisbane Breakers. Very entertaining player.
Never stops moving. Doesn't hold the disc for more than a moment. And Chris Stoddard, great defender, totally bamboozled by what just happened. And that's
Well,
two
we're at
apiece.
2, yeah. This game is starting nice and tight as we thought it would. There's been a few turnovers, but all in all, we're back at evens.
Hey, run it, run it, run it!
And it's Melbourne back on offense. Oh, Egan-Griffiths is on the field.
Left, left, left!
Playing some offense as we thought she might.
Left!
Phillips,
To the left!
marked by Meehan.
Yes! Right, 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 right! Right!
so Wang just crashes into Griffith. Doesn't bother her though. Gets it off to Kat.
Mangan drops it. Cold.
He's got some contact on the disc from Mangan.
Things will be restarted quickly. Meehan clears out, leaving McGuckin in the handler space. Smith comes near side. Grimond, hammer over the top. He's got McGuckin, Josh DeBell in the vicinity. Sam McGuckin safe as houses, and Josh DeBell a little turned around.
Gee, I'm not sure that's the best option that you're going to see, but it comes off. I love a hammer. I love a good hammer though, and it's nice to see it being pulled out early by Liam Grimmond. And if it seems there's a comfortability or a connection with Brisbane players, it's because there's 6 of them returning from the last AUL, and 4 of them were on the All-Australian team. Grimmond, McNaughton, Meehan and Kat Smith. They were all sensational last season, and they're going to need to be with the quality of field that they're up against this season as well.
Showing that class here, getting the first break of this match. Despite starting this set on defense, they're now trading up 3-2. So much tactical advantage to being in that trading up position in the way these sets work. McNaughton ripping his signature ball.
Oh, gee. You just can't be putting a pull out at this level. It's just a gimme to a team like Flames. McNaughton won't be happy with that. Tegan Griffiths back on the field again. She's going to push that quad as far as it can go.
So far it doesn't seem to be restricting her too much. Phillips fires to the end zone. Lockie Wise in space.
Easy as you like. Well, they're no strangers to playing together either. Team members from last year's winning Melbourne Flames and teammates on the 2017 World Crocs team from Poland. It's not a bad target, is it?
No, not a bad throw either.
Phillips to Wise. Boom.
Not many teams with an answer for that. And it's that kind of play that has made Melbourne the early favourites in many people's eyes for this season.
They've not been without their losses either. I think we're told that Tom Tullett's the latest. Just before the start of the league, withdrawal with an injury. Andy C coming in. We'll see how much that changes their dynamic, but so far they're rolling on.
There's a little discussion where the man had a cheeky foot on the white paint near sideline.
She's looking to the game advisor. It's just whether that left foot, it's whether she landed together or did she get that right foot down. She doesn't really seem confident. She's asked the game advisor, he's saying it's down, it's out. Oh gee, that's costly.
And Josh DeBell, the Melbourne Flames, will pick up this disc. 6 metres out on this near side. Phillips in the centre. Kat Smith can't contain the swing. Trenwith pivoting hard, not a lot opening up, has to dump back to C. Fakes the big around for Dignan. C again. They're conceding ground but maintaining possession.
Oh, commentators curse Max Stenstrom.
Or would love to see Braden Chen go deep here. You know Smith would shoot deep, but resist the urge to fire that one.
Yeah, he said he's her favourite player to cut for. Wow.
And
Muller just not a massive hammer, but just not a great option. That's an extremely difficult catch for a receiver streaking long at the best of times, and particularly when you've got your defender right on your shoulder.
maybe showing the inexperience there a little. Obviously, very talented, powerful thrower, especially for her age. But it's not necessarily the throwing skill that makes the difference between the really elite throwers. It's the decision making that goes along with it.
Yeah, and just there we see DeBell just putting it back to Phillips, who was moving the other direction for a turn. That's a gift.
Great inside break from Smith to punish him.
How that point started with Meehan catching the first pass out, just 6 metres out from the end zone, and they've managed to score the goal. They'll be pretty happy with that one.
And the Brisbane Breakers currently lead the 2018 champions 4-2. Getting their second break in a row as we rapidly close in on the end of the first set.
4-3.
Hey, hand up early, we gotta go.
Cat Phillips hasn't taken a lot of points off, recognising that someone has to make up for the lack of playing time of Georgia Egan-Griffiths.
We've got just about a minute to go, so this is going to get very interesting, and this point in particular is key. Melbourne need to score this point to keep themselves alive in this set. Beautiful cut from Mangan. Oh! Matuka comes through, picks it out of the air. That is not how the plan was meant to go for Melbourne.
Puts it out in front. John McNaughton will cruise that one into the end zone.
Oh, well done, Rachel Parsons. She had Matsuka giving her the dump option, but in a very crowded space. She has enough sense to look up, see a streaky McNaughton into the corner, and just throw the right throw. Look at here, Matsuka reads the play, picks off the D.
You can see there on the Yukon disc replay, Parsons' beautifully weighted throw to John McNaughton. And Brisbane in a commanding position now with just seconds left of this first set.
Yeah, it's got to be just seconds left in this set.
Opts for the outside in, pull this time, does John McNaughton. Fielded by Andrews, plays give-go with Seb Barr.
The time might have already elapsed. I think this is all over. Someone's just got to tell Melbourne to drop the disc, let it go. The set's done.
It's not a format these players will have been used to for much time, but one they're going to have to get comfortable with very quickly. And just like that, we've wrapped up set one. Don't go anywhere as we take a quick break. Welcome back to the second set. The Melbourne Flames and the Brisbane Breakers going head-to-head in the Australian Ultimate League. It's been a good first set. Brisbane Breakers just coming away with it with a couple of late breaks. We'll see whether Melbourne Flames can get one back. Keep this scoreline close and hang on to some championship points.
Oh, John McNaughton, that's not the way to start the set.
That's his second brick.
Second brick.
You would expect better from him. Putting Seb Barr with the disc in hand on the brick mark is a dangerous proposition.
Whoa! That's a very uncharacteristic throw from Seb Barr. His turnover rate last season was just ridiculously low, and he starts that one not as he would want to.
McNaughton and Matsuka playing their little give-go game. McNaughton elevates for that one, does well.
Just got springs in his legs to get up for that one.
Looked like Barr just got a fingernail on Matsuka's throw, causing it to pop up, and McNaughton reacting in an instant. Goodman gets the dump, playing a little three-handler weave at the back here at Brisbane. McNaughton standing very short.
Matsuka, he's just so fast. It's just like a...
Very agile, and has the range of throws to boot. A cheeky scoop over the top to John McNaughton.
Oh, hello. I've got some kind of celebration. That's not good. Got to work on that, Breakers. They need to work on that, but they have started very nicely this second set. McNaughton, Matsuka, Grimond really just worked that point up. They're quite a young team, Brisbane. And would you believe Matsuka's the oldest player on there at 34? Old man Matsuka. Getting it done though.
Showing his wily ways. Him and McNaughton having played together for a number of years at different times and sometimes in different countries. They both pulled on Ring of Fire jerseys together a few years ago now, I believe, and that chemistry coming to play here. It's a better pull from McGuckin. DeBell and Barr play some offense.
Has a sniff. Wow, there's a lot of pressure on each of these throws. They're moving the disc quickly. Oh, no one there to help it up the line. Beautiful cross throw from
Shannon Trenwith.
Phillips. Not the same for Trenwith though. I think they're just playing a little too quickly, Melbourne. I mean, when it comes off, it's beautiful, but the execution errors now are just racking up a little bit.
Starting to creep in.
Lyra, she gets the call
Uncorks
from
the backhand.
Murphy. She answers the call. That's a beautiful length of the field throw.
And McGuckin ends up with the goal.
Wow.
Lachlan Murphy recognising he had a matchup that he liked with Seb Barr on him.
Yeah, but Lyra, man, that's a beautiful throw. Just lays it out in front for Murphy to run onto. These Brisbane women have some big throws.
And that's that line with Meehan, Mueller and Smith. All three of them capable of bombing it.
Yeah, she was on the All-Australian team last season. Can she make it back on there again? And with throws like that, she will be making a very strong case for it.
And hasn't really put a foot wrong so far.
Yeah, I haven't seen a lot from Kat Smith this game. She's been quite quiet. But look, if you're racking up on the scoreboard, you let the team roll on.
McNaughton opting for the roller, not trusting himself to keep it in the field any other way. But it'll do.
Whoa!
Phillips.
Out too far out in front.
Not a great pass from C.
Andy C.
Atsuka marked by Dignam. Phillips on Wang. Atsuka loves to work in those really small spaces.
Gee,
Which
he gets close to his thrower, doesn't he?
he does, and I'd imagine a lot of other players just aren't used to their dump getting so tight to them. And Simpson fires one down the line. Parsons
Great
digs
throw,
it out.
great catch. Simpson to Parsons. Another celebration of sorts.
Brisbane start the second set the way they finished their first. In control.
Yeah, I really like the pickup of Rachel Parsons by the Brisbane Breakers. She had a very, very strong national seasons for Rogue. At handling from the back or downfield, her height, her athleticism, her speed and her throws now make her a very dangerous player, and I think she's going to be a stalwart on the Firetails for years to come. And it's a good pick from Ewing to take her with him from Sydney up to Brisbane in what was already a very strong women's lineup.
I know that he got on the phones pretty quickly after locking in that Brisbane coaching role.
He got the big contract and he went fishing.
And geez, did he land one with Rachel Parsons, indeed, showing why she's in demand.
Another one that he went after in the draft was Braden Cheng. Number 2 there on the disc. We might have a chance to have a chat about Braden a little bit later.
When he's not playing semi-professional ultimate, he's playing semi-professional football, soccer.
For the North Shore Mariners.
Very capable
Here we go,
athlete.
throws it to Dingham. It's just too far. It's just their execution at the moment, because she had a lot of space on Kat Smith, and Andrews just can't get the disc to her. But I like that Melbourne are looking for their long game. I think they need to. I think when they get too cute with the lots of small passes is where they get themselves into a bit of trouble, but nothing really clicking at the moment.
And McGuckin fires a laser beam down that far sideline. Braden Cheng, the timing of that cut a little late in the stall count.
Yeah, look, Ewing on the sideline here, the Brisbane coach, is yelling out matchups on this turn. He said at the beginning of the game he needed to have good matchups. It was an obvious call, but particularly a good matchup on Seb Barr. And they've got the speedster Braden Cheng on him.
Barr's one of those enigmas from a defensive perspective. You know, he's not the quickest, he doesn't seem like the most agile, but manages to consistently get open almost regardless of what the defender does, as he does exactly
has
there.
fantastic footwork. And young players would do well to watch his footwork and the way he moves his players. There's another turn by DeBell. Wow, there's a lot of defensive pressure from Brisbane, but you have to say that Melbourne are doing themselves a disservice at the moment.
Immediate hammer from me, and looking for McGuckin.
And she's gone long.
Bit of a circus catch. Inside break to Murphy. Here's McGuckin, fat side forehand. Barr can't get it back.
Beautiful throw, Lachlan Murphy.
And if the first set was an arm wrestle, this one is a body slam. Brisbane Breakers have taken the Melbourne Flames to school in this second set.
Yeah, gee, they are getting slammed. Lucky they've got Mangan, who's a paramedic, Stoddard, who's a physiotherapist, and Shannon Trenworth, who's a doctor on their team, to patch up these bruises. I'm not sure they can come back from this in this second set, which would be huge.
In the first set, when they were more effective, you saw their female handlers, in particular Kat Phillips, apologies, really take control of the play. We haven't seen that as often in the second.
Well, just over halfway through the set, Melbourne are going to have to work very hard to get back into this match. Finding themselves already a set down.
Let's go. Let's get right, Sophie. Oh yeah. Yeah, Brad. Throw. Left.
Wise.
Oh yes.
Forehand to Mangan.
Hey, Liam.
He goes fat side for Stoddard. Liam Grimmond isn't having any of it. And what's great about this team
Is that they wear their caps backwards?
wasn't what I was going to say, but kind of. No, is that it gives Grimmond an opportunity to do what he does best, and I think that's play defense. And in recent years, particularly for his club team, he's had to play a lot of offense because that's what's been needed of him. And he's a great offensive player, don't get me wrong. But where he really shines is on the defensive side of the disc, and you can see why there is. He gets a good block on Chris Stoddard.
Brisbane moving it well. Dom Simpson lines up.
And Stoddard returns the favour.
That's a great matchup.
Dhaliwal,
Haven't seen much of her at all on the disc.
the 13th draft pick. Wise fires again.
Go! Oh!
And
Well, not a good option from a game perspective, but from an entertainment perspective, I say keep on putting it up.
yeah,
Keep on
clearly
putting it up.
not learning from his mistakes, Lockie Wise. I think there's a proverb about this. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. And I think right now, Lockie Wise has no excuses. It's McNaughton. He goes hammer crossfield to Matsuka. Wang, very open.
And
Backhand
Matsuka's going to
comes.
take her. Oh, she needs to go attack.
Trenworth almost gets there, but Rosa Wang too calm and collected under that disc. Scoops it up. Eventually finds Matsuka, but
gee.
Stoddard puts out the paw. Not able to reward that nice deep cut from Rosa Wang. Stoddard finds Mangan. Back to Stoddard. To Dhaliwal. The Flames looking more in flow, more in motion this point.
Good to see Dhaliwal getting involved. Has to put up a hope to NDC, and it's a beautiful throw in the end.
Back to
Stoddard
To
drills
Trenworth.
it into Trenworth, gives them hope, gives the embers alive.
Haven't put out this flame quite yet.
Great to see Chris Stoddard in the AUL, plays his ultimate Newcastle with Pie Wagon or I-beam or whatever iteration they take, but he's a quality player. I think quite underrated and a very, very nice guy.
And he was a late addition in response to the injured Chris Calaviotis. And what a pickup he is. Got a nice block on Grimmond at point as well, showing his strengths offensively and defensively.
We haven't seen Egan Griffiths back on the field, I'm not sure at all this set. keep an eye on that, but I think that quad may well have just told her this is not happening, which is a massive loss for the Flames.
It
She's
is.
such an offensive weapon in that handler position. Wow, we've got another pull going out this time.
And just from a legs perspective, with these shortened rosters, every player makes such a difference. And one that you'd imagine who'll be playing a lot of game time, like Ian Griffiths. When she goes down, the amount of increased workload for
I
the
wouldn't
other
worry
women.
about that. Phillips, Dingham, they love it. They want to be on every point.
It's true. And to be fair, if there were any that would be able to handle that extra workload, it'd be Phillips coming off that AFL background where the conditioning requirements are pretty extreme.
Oh,
An
nice
inside
team
forehand.
defense by Melbourne. They're not done yet. Dingham puts it up, but just short to Arvin Muller.
Murphy slows things down, recognising that life was getting a bit frantic. Meehan won't slow down. Big to McGuckin.
Gee, he just had to keep running on that one.
Yeah, misread it. Slowed down. Especially when you're going downwind like that. Often a better choice to run out your cut rather than try and stop and go early. Phillips finds DeBell. Immediately goes back up line. Mueller stumbles, loses her footing, gives Phillips and Sam McGuckin goes horizontal. I've been wondering how long we'd have to wait to see a vintage McGuckin block.
Oh my goodness,
And-
that was great. I was just about to say what a beautiful upward throw that was from Kat Phillips. Just sitting it beautifully flat. Flat enough for McGuckin to come through and get the spoils.
To be fair, it's hard to fault the throw. It was nigh on perfect, but McGuckin just made up so much ground.
Oh, Brayden Cheng gives Ava Muller a lot to do, and she does it.
Back to McGuckin. Brayden Cheng goes deep. McGuckin fires. Very flat and fast.
Yeah, Brayden Cheng, he's a winger, midfielder on the soccer field, so he's fast, but no one's that fast.
No. And with 2 minutes to go, even just drawing this point out
Yeah,
is an advantage for Brisbane.
Won't be unhappy about that.
Very good, Anna. Hey, under.
Andrews in the centre. Back to Barr on that far sideline.
Oh,
Mangan totally open. Phillips shoots, but the big frame of Lachlan Murphy gets in the way.
nothing happening upfield.
Totally static.
Oh man, has to go back to Murphy. Being marked by Mangan.
In many ways, Brisbane parking the bus. Cheng trying to get out the big hut, can't find a way. McGuckin, Smith on the doorstep, trying to laser beam across field for Meehan.
Oh, the turnovers are coming thick and fast in this point. Nobody wants to keep this disc.
With under 60 seconds,
Barr says, I'll have a go.
Barr shoots. And Josh DeBell almost makes a meal of it. Instead finds Phillips. Not a lot of run left in these legs, and it's Seb Barr.
Seb Barr, the general himself, has to get into the front line and score that point. Wow, there's a few players down on their haunches after that one.
It was long.
And you're right, this is where you've just had a really long point, and this is where you want to do a complete sub, and that's where the Egan Griffith injury really hurts you.
Someone has to back up.
Someone has to stay.
And with the time closing in, game has been called, or set has been called, I should say.
Wow, Brisbane Breakers.
They won't play the extra pass.
That's turned into a dominant performance. 2-0. They'll take that bonus championship point and the match.
We'll have a quick word from our sponsors. And welcome back to set 3 of the Melbourne Flames taking on the Brisbane Breakers. It's been a pretty dominating performance so far by the Breakers. Flames just haven't really been able to string it together in the way the 2018 defending champs probably wanted to.
Yeah, look, it was a muted break, muted Melbourne team at the break. The advice of their coach Chockley was this is all about a dump reset. They need to really get their dump reset back where they want it, and that will free up the downfield cuts. So we'll see if they can make those adjustments on offense, but they start this third set on defense.
Likewise, on the other end, Brisbane very jovial, very relaxed in that break. And you can understand why. Haven't really been troubled so far.
Oh,
And Kat Smith uncorks one for the first time this match. And Ava Mueller
wow.
plucks that one late in its flight.
Yeah, not often that you see Kat Phillips getting out of position, it would have to be said, and out of a aerial competition, but the 19-year-old did very well to bring that one down.
And I think what we're seeing there, as we've seen a lot before, is those downwind hucks just sail a little further than most players are expecting. And it's those that are willing to keep running rather than try and take them early that are most successful.
So good start for Brisbane, that's exactly what they want. Now we'll see if Melbourne can return fire.
Wise taking the line. He's had a bit of a match to forget this one. Leading his team in the stat category that nobody wants, and that's throwaways. His consistency not where it usually is. Spent the last few months splitting time between New Zealand and Australia. The chemistry with this Melbourne outfit maybe not quite what it was last year. Bar to Mangan.
It's great defense from Rosa Wang on Kat Phillips.
Stoddard. Wise working hard, puts it out in front of him. It's 3-on-1.
It's Rachel Parsons' dish. She sees that safely out.
That's not the kind of option Melbourne needs to be taking.
Just pushing it, aren't they?
Got to play the numbers game, and 3-on-1 against you. Not a great proposition.
I mean, Melbourne, as a team, they've got a lot going for them. They've got 5 of the 2017 World Crocs on their team. All of their women play for the Ellipsis Club, so there's a high degree of player knowledge, game knowledge there. And with the exception of Stoddard, all of their players are based in Melbourne, so that ability to train together, but it's just not paying off at the moment. And Brisbane back in the driver's seat on offense, 1-0 up. Parsons with the disc.
McNaughton fires the backhand. Finds Matsuka on the doorstep. And the no-look flick. Rubs salt into the wound.
The no-look parts, Matsuka. Like a quarterback, just moving the defense. Keeps Dom Simpson free for that throw. That's 2-0.
And Brisbane Breakers, powerhouse performance. Matsuka getting heaps of separation off Lockie Wise deep. And then the no-look pass. The look away keeps Wise and Dignam engaged on him, not looking behind for the threat. Matsuka happy to deliver the little forehand into space. McNaughton's given up the pulling duties to McGuckin. Not hitting his stride today in that department.
It's a nice rolling pull. Kat Phillips doesn't want to have a stab at it. She lets it go out. And we'll bring it up. Ewing, the Brisbane coach, described her as one of their insurance policies. They get out of jail free cards that you need to chip away at. But I don't feel like that's been the failing of the Melbourne team today. So they put it up to Rob Andrews. That's how you do it.
Speaking of insurance policies, Rob Andrews under a hanger in the end zone. It's about as reliable an insurance policy as you can get.
Yeah, you bet the house on that one. Maybe they need to pull out a bit more risk on their throws to the right matchups. I mean, Rob Andrews has an incredible reach.
Great reach, great read as well. Not many that can control that matchup in the air.
Was with the Sydney Suns last season, now with the Melbourne Flames, having moved down to Melbourne.
Without a doubt, one of the biggest off-season moves.
Yeah.
In many ways, trading places with Tom Regacki, who's pulled on the purple this season for Sydney. And I know there are a number of people out there that see Rob Andrews as a young Regacki in many ways.
Stop it.
You don't think so, Crossy?
No. I mean, they've got
Big
height,
receiver?
they've got reach, or has he got the throws that Regacki has?
Yeah, but did Regacki have those throws when he was 23?
He's always had, he was born with the throws.
Certainly feels
It's a
like
gift.
that. You're either born with it or you're not. Rosa Wang getting a little tied up.
Pressure.
To Parsons. Simpson. Wang again in Acres.
Yes,
Simpson.
gee.
Ruthless. But shorts the throw.
Andrews looks to move it quickly to Wise.
Rosa stay for a while. Rosa stay for a while.
Wise fires again. He hasn't hesitated all game, and not always to great effect.
Rachel Parsons. Oh, gee, just enough pressure, I think, there from Rachel Parsons.
Yeah, in his defence, Dhaliwal did get a hand on that. It's Grimmond. Looks to the break backhand, but shorts it. We've got a foul on the mark. Got a Hannah Mangan on the mark. One of the elite defenders going around. And by doing so, allows Melbourne to have that extra deep protection with both Wise and Andrews hanging at the back of the stack.
Yeah, Melbourne very comfortable to have their female defensive handler markers matching up at the back against whoever may be there.
Oh, Matsuka and C. Both very springy players. Mangan gets put on the ground, takes a bump, slow to get back up.
She's thinking about a call.
Not sure what the call is.
I don't think there is a call.
Play will restart regardless. Mangan, coming from that football background, not unused to the contact and the heavy hits. Oh, and Braden Chang, you can't leave him alone. Simpson can't get open, and Wise gets the block. Great defense from Simar Dhaliwal. Credit to her. It's not easy to go one-on-one in the end zone. She does exactly that against Simpson.
And Wise just throws it away again. Yeah, Dhaliwal, I know the Ellipsis team like her a lot. It's no surprise she's ended up on this Melbourne Flames team. Very athletic receiver.
Plays some great defense there on Dom Simpson. Andrew C leaves his feet. The Flames showing up late in this third set. Big backhand out in front.
Just got to finish.
Finish is the one thing they can't do on that play. As Rob Andrews overcooks that throw.
It's probably where they're missing the likes of a Tom Tullett on defense to have that turnover and have that big thrower with a range of options to finish off the point.
And also the discipline not to throw it when it's not 100%
Oh, Tom
on.
Tullett doesn't have that discipline.
I think I would have agreed with you a couple of years ago, but to his absolute credit, I think of late, he's shown that he's gained that. Grimmond left totally unmarked at the back.
Matsuka continuing to distribute the disc at will. Rosa Wang. It's a bit too blady a throw from Dom Simpson. Rosa Wang, she's just getting free all over the place.
She was the 8th pick in the draft last year. She was 5th this year. And I think there's a reason she's moving up those ranks.
Yeah, we missed her, unfortunately, seeing her in the final of Melbourne-Sydney with an injury, which was a blow. Oh, Kat Phillips pulls out a very uncharacteristic throw.
The frustration and the reality of the situation clearly impacting the decision-making of the Melbourne Flames.
Well, everyone's going to bring out a hammer now, and Brett Matsuka says, if you're going to do it, this is how you throw it.
Yeah.
Bit of a masterclass.
Beautiful throw.
From old man Matsuka.
From Matsuka. He really is one of those elite throwers. Maybe not in the pure power category, but in terms of finesse and control.
Yes. And he has it cocked. He has the point to Braden Chang. This is where I want you. And fires the hammer down the line. That in itself is quite a tricky throw. Throwing a cross-field hammer is something that probably most punters can do. Straight down the line. Joy to watch.
And weights it perfectly, as you saw there on the Yukon Sport replay. So just a few minutes left now. Brisbane looking to close this one out clean and take the 4 points.
7 minutes to go. The general. He's just so calm with the disc. He just looks completely unflappable, Seb Barr.
Trenworth finds Barr. He has Phillips going deep. Puts that away.
He's starting just to assert his authority on this point.
Trenworth goes to ground. Inside forehand out in front of Phillips, or is it DeBell that will get there? It is DeBell. Bell leads Barr out in front. Got a no call downfield. They immediately wave it off.
Should stay where it is.
Keep him out. Oh yeah, Sammy. Oh yeah, Lira, let's get it. Come on, Lira.
With Seb Barr, the little general. Matsuka taps it in.
Not a lot opening up for him. Barr's committing to Phillips, and eventually she provides the option. Fires the forehand to Mickey Dignam. That's the kind of offense you'd expect from Melbourne Flames. Patient and waiting for the throw to open up.
Bell urging his teammates. We scored a goal. I know it's not usual, but it's probably time that we celebrate it. This is where teams are tested mentally. How can they dig themselves back out of a hole? And when you're 2 sets to love down and the match is gone, do you have enough mental fortitude or willpower or desire to go after that last championship point? At the moment, it's not been the case from Melbourne.
Not a lot of fight left in them by the look of it for this set at least. Saw that last point, the decision making start to crack. Feel those frustration, desperation throws.
Here we go! Let's go, Flex!
McNaughton to Matsuka. Down the line to Mueller. Back to McNaughton in the centre of the field. McGuckin's going deep. Throw doesn't come. Smith wide open underneath. She'll
Nice
shoot.
offensive movement. And it's going to result in a goal.
And very casual by the Brisbane Breakers as they put another one in.
Yeah, it looked easy, didn't it? It looked very easy.
Flames starting to slow down. A lot of hands on hips as they walk back to the line.
Yeah, I think they were very confident coming into this match. I think they thought they had the matchups, particularly on the women. And you can't say that the Brisbane women have been exposed here. At all. They've held their own. And it's been Melbourne's play that's been exposed a bit.
It's pretty surprising actually, considering the calibre of players on this Melbourne roster. Each individually an excellent player that you think were pretty comfortable holding their own. They just haven't been able to make it work as a team. And really, as you say, a team that's all locally based, or almost entirely locally based, and I know has had a few trainings at least together coming into this season. It's surprising that they haven't been able to hit their rhythm. Having said that, the late scratching of Tullett, the kind of player that an offense revolves around, may have had a big impact on that. Barr, Stoddart heads to the end zone. The disc doesn't fly. Instead he gets the big gainer underneath.
way! This way!
Dignam. Phillips leaves her feet. She can't hold on. Braden Cheng is gritting his teeth as he runs. And McNaughton zips the forehand onto his chest.
Money.
Extends the lead to 5-2. So we've got barely 2 minutes left to play.
And look, I think the Melbourne Flames, they had a lot of close games last season. They came out undefeated, but there were a couple of games, I think particularly against Brisbane, might have gone down to Universe Point. But they weren't blowing teams out of the water like Sydney really were in the round games. And part of that, I think, were the conditions and the style of their play. They have a very fast style of play. They constantly, as soon as the disc gets into a hand, they're constantly looking to pass it laterally or backwards or forwards. It doesn't really matter to them. They're looking to move it quickly. And when the conditions aren't good, when there's rain and wind, then you're going to get those execution errors. But I think we've seen similar today, but you can't really blame the conditions. They're pretty good. There is a gust of wind. It's up and down, but it really shouldn't worry players of this calibre.
No. Cat Phillips making good meters off that pass, but throwers like her really shouldn't be throwing away in these kind of conditions. As you say, it's the decision making that's lacking.
And look, I think Phillips has had a great game. She's been very solid.
One wayward hammer perhaps, but beyond that, you're right. But it doesn't feel like any individual has let Melbourne down. It's been a team effort.
A team let-down effort.
Yeah.
Everybody's had a go letting each other down. Come on, Lockie Wise. Yes, he gets up for a D. He's picked it up quickly and he's just going to wake it. That is the last throw of the match. I think we're right in saying it's game over. 3 sets to Brisbane, 0 to Melbourne. So they'll walk away with the 4 championship points and probably something even more worthwhile than that, some massive confidence for the rest of this AUL, whatever it brings them.
Saw there on the Yickham Discs replay the way that this one ended. As Brisbane Breakers take the victory 3-0 and the 4 championship points, the Melbourne Flames will have to head home and recoup. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time here from the Australian Ultimate League.